Hi there, my name is Krystal Lauk, and I am the owner and creative director of Lauk House Agency here in San Francisco. And I'm here to give you a talk that I gave at Icon 2022, which was really awesome and fun. And I'm here to talk about a squirmy subject. So as you can see here, this meme has been one of many memes that has been poking fun at a certain illustration style that has become very ubiquitous and synonymous with big tech. Yes, I am talking about the ever famous corporate Memphis. So I got a whiff of corporate Memphis back in 2015 when I was on my last year of art school. I was working as an intern at a UI UX design agency, and I started seeing these graphic illustrations pop up in tech companies' early startups, and I was really excited about these. And as fate would have it, I got a Facebook gig soon after I graduated, then Uber and a spattering of startups followed, and in a Medium blog post in 2016 I write, "I see tech embracing illustration and design as a call to humanity. It's also reaped with new opportunities." And I think just seeing kind of the limited career paths of illustration in the time, this was awesome to me, and I was right in the heart of it. And soon after, there was a kind of a feeding frenzy of awesome tech companies taking on their own illustration design systems, and everybody wanted to kind of read and write about how to create them. And some of these companies, obviously Facebook was a big one, Uber, Intercom, Slack, Gusto. And so after a 2-year stint at Google Play, I started Lauk House Agency and set out to put our own corporate Memphis styles out in the atmosphere. And I also love a lot of the illustrators who work at these big tech companies, and they really hone their craft and pave the path forward for functional, beautiful design at these companies. A few of them are Dylan Casano and Brandon Leonard Ping and Camille Neri, just to name a few. And then this started happening. That feeding frenzy kicked off a lot of open source illustrations that just were lazily designed. And of course, a lot of companies, a lot of startups started using these, and the environment just became so oversaturated with them. And this is where people got to see and start criticizing corporate Memphis. And I think it kind of started with this evil Twitter account, Humans of Flat, as kind of one of the first criticisms. And this is where corporate Memphis got its name from the critics, which doesn't even bear relation to the Memphis Milano style. And the criticism and the hate grew and grew, and soon after, whole Reddit and 4chan communities are dedicated to hating on this particular flat graphic style, which kind of all ended up under the umbrella of corporate Memphis. And then soon all the think pieces came and wanted to comment on how corporate Memphis was the nexus of everything that we hate about society and tech. And then we reached peak level when this man, Brian Collins, at First Round Design Conference earlier this year, trashed corporate Memphis along with a lot of illustrators working in the tech industry. And I have a problem with this because there's a human behind that illustration. And we love what we do for a living. We're trying to make a living, and there's nothing shameful about success. And yes, corporate Memphis makes big tech companies look friendly, approachable, and concerned with human level interaction and community, which is largely the opposite of what they really are, as this quote says. But Isn't it awesome that illustration is actually facilitating empathy in these products that we use day to day and are destined to use even more throughout our lifetimes and generations to come? I think we live in an amazing time, a golden age of illustration, where companies are so interested and see the power of illustration. And, in turn, it makes our world so much more vivid and alive, just in our day-to-day, because of illustration and because illustrators are getting these jobs to make our world more colorful. So why the corporate Memphis style? Why this flat graphic style? You see it so prevalent because it has a lot of functionality and utility to it. When you're creating illustrations for a product, a lot of assets need to be created, huge libraries, things that are interchangeable. And so that's a big one of the big reasons. And I hate to bring it up, but Web3 is here and it's going to be big. And I think illustration is going to be at the heart of a lot of demand. And while that's exciting, we need to, as an industry, really look at what that looks like for our future and how to kind of move with it. And I also want to argue that while corporate Memphis is so ubiquitous and seems so common these days as a trend, it's actually followed by huge trends that you see throughout design history. A lot of it is inspired by the greats of, Mary Blair and Tintin, just to name a few. And of course, Charlie Harper. And when you even kind of think back at the masters, for example, J.C. Leyendecker, back in his day, he was dismissed as an artist. And a lot of his work was dismissed as advertising schlock. But today, he is one of the greatest illustrators of our time. And so I would argue, corporate Memphis is going to be in the design books. What is it going to look like in the future? And how are people going to perceive it? It's definitely a reflection of our times. And corporate Memphis artists are going to be heralded as such in those design books. So I say, let's ride this culture wave. Let's just get inspired and not be ashamed of the success or what type of style we work in, and just stop the hate. So thanks so much for listening to this talk, and you could find out more at corporatememphis.com. Thank you so much.